Several afternoon seminars discussed some aspect of cross-dressing.
Ariadne says, at least as I conceive it, that if you feel comfortable about what's between your ears, it doesn't matter how you present that to the public. Because you have the inner security and peace of mind to know what's involved. You also take the responsibility if it turns out that you have miscalculated a particular situation. Some of us are extremely critical of ourselves making mistakes. A mistake is probably the best way you can learn. You have one mistake and you learn forever and henceforth. That's if you're a typical human being in society. So my approach and my response to that is basically that you should tend to merge the best elements in your personality so that out comes a personality that is not a caricature of Vogue magazine or these crotchy women's magazine or women's programs or women's crotches, or the other extreme, the macho, strong, non-sensitive, non-subtle, non-feeling approach. We were talking at lunch today, and I think this is a point that may be well taken. Within each male, there's a certain kind of space that's private and inviolate. If you get too close to the male in our society, and within that space, there's a violent kind of interaction that takes place. I get too close to you in another role, and I wish to embrace you because I feel that something is mutually satisfactory for both of our understanding of each other. In that particular instance, I could be rebuffed, shot in the head, 1,001 cues for which I don't have any possible recourse except I made a mistake. In this role, we notice very clearly that that space all of a sudden begins to break down. We do embrace, we do hold arms, we do give pats on the cheek, that sort of thing. Look at that. Try to put that in both contexts. And all of a sudden you say, why can't I kiss a friend as a gesture of affection? Not as a gesture of going to bed with that person. As a man. And in other cultures it does take place. In this culture apparently it's hard. But we are able, at least those of us who are courageous enough to come to Provincetown, at least make a big thing of going out in public in a lifestyle that we would like to explore further.
The highlight of the week was a talent show presented before a public audience at a local nightclub.
I think in the streets of New York, 10 years ago, the gay community came out and showed that it was going to start to be recognized as human beings. That's important. I have stood in drag bars as the bottom of the pile, where people who stood in what I call straight drag bars with nothing to lose, did nothing. And now, there they stand, brave, heroic, on the street, because of people who were willing to do their thing. And that's true. In those days in 1776, as it was 10 years ago. And never forget it.
Costs a lot of money. They're talking about money. I had a young fella come up to me the other day. He said, Miss West, he said, you love it, honey? It'll cost you. He said, Miss West, he says, how many films you been? And I told him. And he said, goodness, that must have made you a lot of money. I said, honey, goodness had nothing to do with it. Now, I have a very slight confession. I distinctly loathe suppression. If I have one life, I want to live it.